Okay, the problem was
It's this, I think, because it's... Oh, wait, no, it's here. So I tried a couple of things. Originally, I was trying to use the integer age num in this loop as well, but that didn't work. So who knows?
So do you mean that it doesn't verify age?
Or it did, or not. I think it works. It just works at like the end, which is okay.
Okay, try it and see. Yeah.
So there's like, if it's it out under 4, if I had like 12. So it works, but yeah, it'll complete the whole thing. You enter all of them, and then it'll say, please enter valid age.
So is it working, or?
Yeah, now it is working, I think.
Okay. But did you try to enter like an invalid age in the middle somewhere and see if you get presented that message? You
did? That's what I did see.
Okay.
So then.
Okay. So what would be your next step now that you said the validation's working for age and also validation for schoolhouse, because you need to ask them to enter schoolhouse? Yeah. And then of course the validation for reaction times in seconds, because you need to make sure they enter a number, and perhaps should be a positive number, so in case there's any of those type of mistakes, it will immediately be caught up. So that should be your next steps, and where you're going to be including that.
I think we discussed, kind of forgot what kind of array list should I make for houses. Should it be string or character?
It should be string. I mean, because you're storing, you could make it character. It doesn't really matter because you're just going to use it as a way to determine. I think the question did ask you to calculate the average output times for students for students in Saturn and students in Mars. So you need a way how you can be able to detect which student belongs to Saturn, like the Saturn houses, and get the corresponding, I think it was reaction time for that particular house. And that's only done by using index positions, right? Which we talked about. Yeah. So, and then you have to have like a counter that's specific for calculating the average time of students in Saturn and average time of student in Mars. That's just going to keep adding anytime you spot a particular reaction time, then you just add it to your sum for Saturn, and then you have a counter that's counting the number of Saturn houses that you found in the array list, and then finally dividing both of them. That should be like the process overall. You just have to plan it really well, though. Okay, great. So you created 3 array lists. Okay. So the age is an integer, the house is string, and the reaction list is integers. Okay. Makes sense. So just to clarify one thing, Adarsh, are you going to be creating methods that will be getting the info and another method that will be checking that info? Is that how you?
Yeah, I think that's how.
Okay. Okay.
If I move this, I can just try, right?
Okay, you want to take it, you want to copy it? Oh, okay.
I want to use this in the other methods too.
Okay. right? It seems like it's not validating anymore because you
Yeah.
said, yeah, 23. Let's see what could be the problem. So why don't you just, Adarsh, why don't you just make static just this part and then you would like continue. So what I mean is if you want to use it somewhere else, you just do this, right? Age
Oh, just,
size.
yeah.
Okay, there's like a double S. Okay. And then you can just, without initializing it, you just use it here and use it anywhere else with the variable name. So that's
Okay.
another, try it and see though if it works now, just to make sure your age is still working as it was before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then is ages size only have its value in the check ages method, or will it be the same value in?
You can use it anywhere else in the class. So in the
Okay.
check ages method, you're using it. What you're doing is the way you're initializing it. So in the check ages method, you're initializing it to find the size of the age array list. So that size is going to be in the check ages method. You could try printing it here just to see if it's also reflective in your get houses if you still want to use the age size.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just try printing it and then maybe calling the method and seeing if it returns anything for you so that you can check. Did you call the method to get houses?
Oh, no, I didn't.
No, it's not printing anything, so it's not getting the value. Yeah, because it's just doing the validation of age, but not printing get houses age size. So that means that value is not actually like the size of the number of ages, which should return 3, is not returning 3. So it's not efficient in that sense. What do you want to do exactly with the age size again, the variable?
So I want to, because that's like the length of the array list, so that's how many values there are. So I just want to like be able to use that in each function to.
You have, first of all, where's the part when you're getting the, I think this is the section where you actually like finish adding stuff to your array list. Okay, why don't you try, and like after the for loop, then you will try doing the whole age size equal age list dot size. So I mean, take out this and then put this in on here. And I think this would be more efficient. You need to try it though and see, because this returns back to you the number of ages that are stored in the age array list, and then could save that value that you're going to use for the check ages method and also for the get houses. So you need to try it and see though. So here you would have the age size printed again, which is the one that's storing the amount of data stored in the age size array. So you can run it and see if that works. So that could be an approach, because that's usually how you could try to. Okay, it's not printing anything. Get houses still doesn't return the value. What about if I try printing it here? Let's just see if that value is returned even here. For the age, it's still validating. So it's working for age because you're taking check ages and it's working fine. Because you're having it here and you're still using it here. Let's see why it's not working for the void get houses. Age size. Let's try to run it one more time. Well, how come when I put the age 17, it still accepts in the middle?
So like it runs the whole thing and then it'll say like
Oh, yeah. So, okay, it's working now. Well, no, that's just the one I printed over here. That works.
yeah.
Okay. Well, just try to do the validation for just take out what you could have done would have been how many students, Adarsh? That would have been a better question. How many students
Mm-hmm.
are going to enter data and then using that amount of students, because that's going to be the number of data that you're going to be storing in each of these structures, you can use it throughout the whole program. That would have been more efficient to do than using the array since it's not reflecting down on the method for houses. So you could have just asked the question in the beginning and say how many students will be entering data, like a general question. And somewhere, perhaps you can create a method that's just going to get that information. Using that information, then you can, or you can put it in any of your methods that you already have. Then when you get the number of students, that's obviously going to give you the number of students that is going to enter the houses, that's going to enter the ages and the reaction times. And this one for the age, it would, I'm not sure why. I think the best thing would have been where you had a validation here. So you don't like store these ages inside of the array list, Adarsh. You kind of validate. And when you validate it, before you store anything, you're making sure that it is a valid age. I think the validation would have actually been best over here. But anyways, finish your project first, and then we'll talk about the efficiencies and like the deficiencies and things that could have made it better. But validation should have happened immediately they enter the age. You need to validate. What I would have
Yeah.
suggested for you, Adarsh, is you would have had methods that will just get the information. Like create the method like you just did now, get ages, create the
Mm-hmm.
method for get houses and get reaction times. And inside of these methods, you're going to put the validation because you have to make sure you're validating the data before you store it in the array list. So what I mean is like here, once you get the age, this is where you're going to do the whole while. And I think it would be better if you did while because when you do if, and I think that's the reason why we're having this problem. If you do if, it's only going to validate one time. But if you say while, then it's going to validate more than once. And then you like it will always check and check and check. Anytime they enter a wrong age, it's going to be checking. So yeah, so basically I would suggest that you did the while and then you'd have to repeat asking them to enter the age. And this is where you'd have to kind of again get the whole where is it? Age num variable. So yeah, but that's going to change the whole structure of your program. But efficiently, that would have been a better thing where you just put the validation and the getting and the validation in one method. So essentially, eventually, you have like three methods: just get age, get house, get reaction times. And inside of
Yeah.
all of this, yes, I think maybe if you can rethink the validations, perhaps doing them just once you get the information, validate, and then immediately, if it's valid, you can add it to your array list so that you don't add incorrect information. Because that's going to cause a problem if you were to deal with like, needing to get valid ages, valid houses. You're going to be getting houses like Jupiter entering into the array list when it's not valid, but it's entering, even though it might present an error message. So do you understand what I meant? Just try to, yeah, so do the validation in here, like copy this part. This is a good part actually, and then just put it in here. Something like this. I'm going to show you an example. And then here you do while, open parenthesis, and then you open another parenthesis here. And then of course, if it's incorrect, then you're going to say while age is less than 12 and greater than 16. This means that it is incorrect. So you're going to do a system.out.println here, Darsh, telling them first that age entry is incorrect, like that. And then after that, you basically ask them to re-enter it again one more time. So you just copy what you have here, just this part. You don't need to copy the data type. And then they get to re-enter it. And if it's right, this is where you can do that condition that you're having down here, which, well, the opposite. Actually, it's supposed to be this one. But if it is correct, you're going to do something like if, open parenthesis, age list, and you don't even have to you don't need to do ageless.get because you're confirming just age right now. So it's just age here. So here is just age. So here you're going to say if age is greater than or equal to 12, because that's valid, and age is less than or equal to 16, because that's the valid age, then this is the point, Adarsh, where you get to now add it to your array list, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
here, yeah. So here you just add it to the array list, and then that would store it for you in your array list. And then you don't really need this part, Adarsh. You don't need, and that's kind of the approach that you should go for all the other ones. That's also going to save you the coding time. So the
Okay.
approach that you're just going to go for all the other ones in the similar approach. Oh, I think I accidentally deleted something there. I just wanted to take this one out. Yeah, and that's it. So just make sure all of your curly braces are right, and then do the next method with get house and do the validation of get house inside its method, which would just make it easier for you. I think one, yeah, there it is. So now do the same steps for get houses, and yeah. So then let's take out the print system.out.print thingy. You're having a smart way of doing things, but remember, Adarsh, when you're coding, you always want to get a very efficient way so that you make everything easier. Okay, you can try that and see if it works. All right, the age, let's see, something's happening with the age. Enter age, while age is less than 12, you entered, okay. Age is less than 12 and age is greater than 16. Okay, no, it has to be or. Try with or now. Let's see, because then that one is like if age is either this or this. Try with the or operator.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's see with the or operator though. Yeah, see, that's good. Oh, you needed to wait for it to like, wait, can you do it again? Because it gave the message. And then, yeah, and then, oh, we forgot to do this, Adarsh. Wait, I forgot to take here, like the system.out.print before you ask them to enter the age so that they see the message, which is why you didn't see anything here. So try to redo it again, and now I think it should be fine. Try rerunning it one more time. Yeah. So there was no message if you enter the incorrect one. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, try entering the right one. Okay. Yeah, so the age validation works. Okay, so then you can proceed in the same structure for the get houses.
I should do like number of students you'd like to enter, right?
Well, no, because I think what you're doing is just you're leaving it free and open. Essentially, you should have had how many students, and then from there you enter the number of ages and enter the number of houses and enter the number of reaction times. But what you're doing is kind of like leaving it open. Just enter the number of ages you would like. You can still do validation here, Adarsh. You could still say while, like, because you already know that they're supposed to enter 650 students. So you can do a validation saying while age num is not equal to 650, then you're going to tell them, but you need to enter 650 ages, you know, that kind of a thing. But I think what you could do is just, since you've already started your structure in this manner, just continue it the way you have it.
Yeah, because I didn't want to, like, each time I tested it, I had to type in 650.
Yeah. So. Obviously, for testing, you don't need to type 650. You can just comment the part out if you want to test it. But I'm saying for finalization, because that's what the scenario is giving you. So when you are done with the project and you want to submit it, then you'd have to return it back to the entry, which is 650. Yeah. Because that's, but now I think just continue in this manner that you've already started. Okay. We'll see at the end.
It was age number.
For get houses, just make sure you check the scenario. What it says about get houses means you have to ask them to enter the house, the amount of. There's only just one problem you're gonna face with this is because what about if they don't enter the right amount of houses. For example, I enter 4 ages, but I then enter 3 houses. So that's going to be a problem because that
Yeah.
means, yeah, you're not going to have corresponding data. So perhaps you need to do something about validation of the amount of people they want to, at least if you want to make it open, first ask them how many students do you want to register, and then based on that, these functions can run.
So I was just gonna use ask them for the length of the array list times. The length of the pages list, since they already said they want to enter that many students.
Yeah, what you could do is, well, how do you mean? Do you want to do something like int here, for example, student num, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pass, well, you're gonna do validation, something like that, where student num is equal. But you have to make sure it's the same for all of them, because you're gonna say in student num, and then I'm trying to think about it. If you did the same thing here in student num, then like that again, then when you could create another method that's going to ask them how many students do you want to enter, and it's just going to check to see, I guess, if the number of students that they entered is equivalent. Well, I'm just trying to think how you're going to make it work for both of them, like all the methods, making sure it's the same amount of students.
You can just not ask them for the other ones, because if you ask them once, then they should be putting in that many anyways for houses and for the reaction time. So can you use?
But you have to validate it. Don't forget, because you're assuming that they should. But what about if they don't? Like, how would you make sure that they're entering for the number of ages, 4 ages, and the number of houses, 4 houses? How would you do that validation? So you have to make sure.
Ask for a house 4 times.
Yeah,
if they ask for 4 ages.
Okay, what you're saying is first you're going to be asking them how many students they want to register. Then in your ages, you're going to use a for loop and repeat this, whatever you've done here, for that amount of times. Is that what you're saying? Because if that's the case, that would work for both of them, because that way you're restricting it. Okay, then that means you have to create some sort of method where you get that main entry and make sure you use the variable, you make the variable static so you can use it again inside of this method. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Let's see what you want to do there.
You could use an integer, right?
Yeah. Yes, you could do that. If you want to make the method with a parameter, which means it's going to take an argument that you can use to check if it's what I mean is in student number as the parameter, and then you're going to use the validation saying if student number is, less than this. Well, no, you don't need validation. You just need to take the number of students. That's all. Okay, so if you say int, remember, it means you have to have a return. Do you need a return in this method?
I mean, you could return their input, how many students they want to put in.
Okay, telling them that you selected or you entered this amount of students. Okay. But you need to be able, if you're going to get a return, then it means you have to have this in student number. You have to have a parameter here that you're going to be getting from the user, because you're going to return that. You have to return something. Unless if you want to just ask them how many students, and then you return it directly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
You can just move.
Maybe you could just validate making sure that the number they're entering is a positive number, at least for the student number. If you're planning on using this, Adarsh, don't forget to make it static, because you want to use it, I'm guessing, everywhere else. No, it has to be static outside, remember, in the class? Not in,
So I'll declare it.
Yeah, so you just declare it, but you can initialize it here. You can declare it there and then initialize it inside.
And then whatever.
Okay, so that's the amount that you're gonna have to use like a for loop in here to be able to like repeat asking them enter age.
Yeah, so then instead of this, I would have student number.
Yeah, instead of that, wait, that was what? Yeah, instead of that, you can take that out. You don't need it anymore because that was for the enter how many ages you wanted. You're gonna have a for loop like int a starting at 0. A is less than the student num that they entered, and then a plus plus. And then you open your curly brace. And then here you just, actually you don't need to close your curly brace. Over here you just keep it open. But all of this, I'm going to remove it from here. Everything here, I think you have something like A already. So let's do I instead. So we don't have duplication. And then here what I meant was this entire thing, because this is where your for loop starts and ends. This whole thing would be spaced in. And then this for loop that you just created will end here. See what I mean? So all of this is inside.
Oh,
So,
exactly.
but you don't need this though, since now you've taken that out.
Just,
okay. So let's see let me see where that is. Let's take this first out. And then here we take that one out. Okay, now you have your method in this way, but you have to try and see, so if everything's working normally, to be able to get the student age that you've already entered in this method to be able to use it here. Yeah,
to call it first.
yes, you call it first, exactly. And check the validation in the middle somewhere if it's working as well. Okay. Okay, I think it's working. You're entering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you entered 5 because this was a re-entry. Yeah. Okay.
And print student number, maybe?
Yeah. If you want to see if it works, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It returns 1. Okay. So it works. Okay, so now you know the approach. So that means you're just going to use the same approach for the other one.